Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tata Jayam Udiret Nashta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Hare Krishna. Today we continue Srimad Bhagavatam Canto, second chapter, second, the Lord in the heart. Shloka number 11 and 12. Right? Yes. Vibhushitam Mekhalaya Anguliyakaihi
विभूषितमेखलया अङ्गुलीयकैः
Mahadhanehi Nupura Kankana Adibhihi
महाधनैः नुपुरकङ्कणादिभिः
Snigdha Amala Ankuchita Neelakuntalehi
स्निग्ध अमल कुञ्चित नीलकुन्तलैः
Virocha Mana Annana Hasapeshalam
विरोचमान अननहासपेशलम्
Adina Leela Hasita Ikshana Ullasat
अदीनलीला हसित ईक्षण उल्लसत्
Bhrubhanga Asuchit Bhuri Anugraham
भूभृङ्ग संसुचित भूरि अनुग्रहम्
Iksheta Chintamayam Ainam Ishwaram
ईक्षेत चिन्तमयम् एनम् ईश्वरम्
Yavan Manah Dharanaya Avatishtate
यावं मनः धारणया अवतिष्ठते
Vibhushitam Mekhalaya Angulikahi
विभूषितं मेखलया अङ्गुलीयकैः
Mahadhanehi Nupura Kankana Adibhihi
महाधनैः नुपुरकङ्कण आदिभिः
Snigdha Amala Ankuchita Nilakuntalehi
स्निग्धामल अकुञ्चित नीलकुन्तलैः
Virochamana Ananasa Specialam Sahasa Specialam
विरोचमानन
Hasa
अननहासपेशलम्
Specialam Adina Leela Ahasita Ikshana Ullasat
अदिनलीला हसित ईक्षण उल्लसत्
Bhrubhanga Sansuchita Bhuri Anugraham
भ्रूभङ्ग संसुचित भुरि अनुग्रहम्
Iksheta Chintamayam Enam Ishwaram
ईक्षेत चिन्तामयम् एनमीश्वरम्
Yavat Manah Dharanaya Avatishtate
यावत् मनः धारणया अवतिष्ठते
Vibhushitam Mekhalaya Angulikaihi Mahadhanehi Nupura Kankana Adibhihi Snigdha Amala Kunchita Nilakuntalehi Virochamana Anana Asapeshalam Adina Leela Hasita Ikshana Ullasata Bhrubhanga Sansuchita Bhuri Anugraham Iksheta Chintamayam Enam Ishwaram Yavatmana Dharanaya Avatishtate
विभूषितं मेखलया अङ्गुलीयकैः महाधनैनुपूरकङ्कणादिभिः स्निग्धामलकुञ्चितनीलकुन्तलैः विरोचमान अननहासपेशलम् अधीनलीला हसित ईक्षणः उल्लसत् भ्रूभङ्ग संसूचित भूरि अनुग्रहम् ईक्षेत चिन्तामयम् एनमीश्वरम् यावत् मनः धारणयावतिष्ठते
Translation and purport by the Srila Prabhupada, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. He is well decorated with an ornaments wreath about his waist and rings studded with valuable jewels on his fingers, his leglets, his bangles, his oiled hair curling with a bluish tint, and his beautiful smiling face are all very pleasing. The Lord's magnanimous, pastimes and the glowing glancing of his smiling face are all indications of his extensive benedictions. One must therefore concentrate on this transcendental form of the Lord as long as the mind can be fixed on him by meditation. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the most beautiful person amongst all others. And Srila Sukadeva Goswami described every part of his transcendental beauty one after another in order to teach the impersonalist that the personality of Godhead is not an imagination by the devotee for facility of worship, but is the supreme person in fact and figure. The impersonal feature of the absolute truth is but his radiation, as the sun rays are but radiation from the sun. In Bhagavad Gita 12.5, it is said that the impersonalist undergoes a series of difficult programs on account of his impersonal meditation. But the devotee, due to the Lord's personal service, progresses very easily. Impersonal meditation is therefore a source of suffering for the impersonalist. Here, the devotee has an advantage over the impersonalist philosopher. The impersonalist is doubtful about the personal feature of the Lord, and therefore he always tries to meditate upon something which is not objective. For this reason, there is an authentic statement in the Bhagavatam regarding the positive concentration of the mind on the factual form of the Lord. The process of meditation recommended herein in Bhakti Yoga, or the process of devotional service after one is liberated from the material conditions. Jnana Yoga is the process of liberation from the material conditions. After one is liberated from the condition of material existence, that is when one is nivritta, as previously stated herein, or when one is freed from all material necessities, one becomes qualified to discharge the process of Bhakti Yoga. Therefore, Bhakti Yoga includes Jnana Yoga, or in other words, the process of pure devotional service simultaneously serves the purpose of Jnana Yoga. Liberation from material condition is automatically achieved by the gradual development of pure devotional service. These effects of Bhakti Yoga are called anartha nivritti. Things which are artificially acquired gradually disappear along with the progress of Bhakti Yoga. Meditation on the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead. The first professional step must show its effect by anartha nivritti, the grossest type of anartha, which binds the conditioned soul in material existence, is sex desire, and this sex desire gradually develops in union of the male and female. When the male and female are united, the sex desire is further aggravated by the accumulation of building, children, friends, relatives, and wealth. When all these are acquired, the conditioned soul becomes overwhelmed by such entanglements, and the false sense of egoism or the sense of myself and mine become prominent, and the sex desire expand to various political, social, altruistic, philanthropic, and many other unwanted engagement, resembling the form of the sea waves, which becomes very prominent at one time and at the next moment vanishes as quickly as clouds in the sky. The conditioned soul is encircled by such products as well as products of sex desire, and therefore Bhakti Yoga leads to gradual evaporation of the sex desire, which is summarized in three headings: extinction. All conditioned souls are made after these different forms of sex desire, and one shall see for himself how much he has been freed from such material anchoring based primarily on the sex desire. As a person feels his hunger satisfied after eating each morsel of foodstuff, he must similarly be able to see the degree to which he has been freed from sex desire. The sex desire is diminished along with its various forms by the processes of Bhakti Yoga, because Bhakti Yoga automatically, by the grace of the Lord, effectively result in knowledge and renunciation, even if the devotee is not materially very well educated. Knowledge means knowing things as they are. And if by deliberation it is found that there are things which are at all unnecessary, naturally the person who has acquired knowledge leaves aside such unwanted thing. When the conditioned souls finds by culture of knowledge that material necessities are unwanted thing, he becomes detached from such unwanted thing. This stage of vairagya or detachment from unwanted thing. We have previously discussed that the transcendentalist is required to be self-sufficient and should not beg from the recipients or persons to fulfill the bare necessities of life. Sukadeva Goswami has suggested some alternatives for the bare necessities of life, namely the problem of eating, sleeping, and shelter. But he has not suggested any alternative for sex satisfaction. One who has the sex desire still with him should not at all try to accept the renounced order of life. For one who has not attained to this stage, there is no question of a renounced order of life. So, by the gradual process of devotional service under the guidance of a proper spiritual master and following the principles of the Bhagavatam, one must be able at least to control the gross sex desire before one accept the renounced order of life factually. So, purification means getting free gradually from sex desire, and this is attained by meditation on the person of the Lord as described herein. Beginning from the feet, one should not try to go upwards artificially without seeing for himself how much he has been released from the sex desire. The smiling face of the Lord is the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and there are many upstarts who at once try to begin with the 10th canto and specially with the 5 chapters which delineate the Ras Leela of the Lord. This is the certainly improper. By such improper study of or hearing of Bhagavatam, the material opportunists have played havoc by indulgence in sex life in the name of Bhagavatam. This way, Bhagavatam is rendered by the acts of the so-called devotees. One should be free from all kinds of desire before he tries to make a show of recital of Bhagavatam. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur clearly defines the importance of purification as cessation from sex indulgence. He says, Yatha yatha dhihi cha suddhayati vishaya lampatyam tyajanti तथा तथा धारयेत् इति चित्तशुद्धि तरतमये नैवैव ध्यान अतरन्तयम् uktam uktam. And as one gets free from the intoxication of sex indulgence by purification of intelligence, and one should step forward for the next meditation, or in other words, the progress of meditation on the different limbs of the transcendental body of the Lord should be enhanced in proportion to the progress of purification of the heart. The conclusion is that those who are still entrapped by sex indulgence should never progress to meditation above the feet of the Lord. Therefore, recital of Srimad Bhagavatam by them should be restricted to the first and second canto of the great literature. One must complete the purificatory process by assimilating the contents of the first 9 cantos. Then one should be admitted into the realm of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवान् च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितां च नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभे च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, Hare Krishna. We try to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 2, the Lord in the Heart, Shloka number 11 and 12. Here they're describing about the beauty of the uh, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sukadeva Gosvāmī describing about that every part, and in next shloka they describe about the process of meditation recommended in Bhakti Yoga, and how uh, what is the condition to accept sannyas yoga renunciation that describe. Prabhuji will tell us in nicely in detail. Hare Krishna vancha kalpatarubhyo kripa sindhubhyo cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavabhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. The transcendental beauty of the Lord. Sukadeva Goswami ji is describing, if we just close our eyes and try to just hear, Shravan, each of the word, the beautiful poetic description, you understand it is just not a poetic imagination. It is factual. And what it does, it immediately rebukes the impersonalist ideas. Because we now understand Krishna is a transcendental person. One which the impersonalists believe in is only Lord's radiance, just like sunlight is reflection of sunset. And that is why meditation on the Lord, Bhakti Yoga, becomes all the more important. His pastimes, his glance, his smiling face, they all indicate his benedictions. So it is necessary that you concentrate on this beautiful form, incidental as it is. And we should, as long as the mind can be fixed on him by meditation, think only about him. This is where the fifth shloka of the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita comes into picture. क्लेश अधिक तेषाम् अव्यक्त सेक्त चेतसाम् अव्यक्ता हि गतिः दुःखम् देवद्भिः अवाप्यते. Krishna says, for those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of supreme advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. It's painful, it is difficult. And a devotee, it progresses easily because he's giving personal service to the Lord. And even if you compare it with Jnana Yoga, again Bhakti Yoga becomes easy. Jnana Yoga frees one from material conditions. But Bhakti Yoga, it also includes Jnana Yoga because liberation is achieved automatically through devotional service. And we saw it in the sixth shloka of this chapter itself, wherein we saw Nivrutta as the prerequisite for Bhakti. And what Bhakti Yoga does is it makes us achieve anartha nivritti, as is mentioned in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu as well, which we have studied even previously. Adau Shraddha Tatha Sadhu Sangha Tatha Bhajan Kriya Tatha Anartha Nivritti Jat Tatha Nishtha Ruchihi Tatha Adhaka Shaktihi Tatha Bhavaha Tatha Prema Abhyuda Anchati. So anarthas, unwanted things, they are removed. And what is the biggest anartha, biggest closest anartha? It is sexual desires, which leads to entanglements, property, family, wealth. So Bhakti Yoga purifies by gradually reducing the desires, which manifest in desires for profit, adoration, distinction. And that is why Bhakti Yoga becomes important. Even if we talk of knowledge, what is important is true knowledge and not simply vairagya or renunciation. Knowledge is understanding what is necessary, and vairagya is natural detachment from unnecessary things. Example is given of the sadhu who is living under a tree, self-sufficient, without dependence on any rich donor. And that is where the whole discussion started a couple of days ago about the renounced order of life and who is eligible. So what Sukadeva Goswami tries to tell today is a qualification factor for what we studied earlier. That before renounced order of life is accepted, before accepting renunciation, the six desires must be eradicated. And how is it achieved? Hearing, serving under a bona fide spiritual master, following Bhagavatam principles. So these three are the prerequisites. Because what they do is they make us work on the purification and help us progress in meditation. Meditation, as you have seen even earlier, starts from the feet of the Lord. You should not jump ahead directly to his face, or even while studying his Leela, not study his intimate pastime. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentions yatha yatha dhi cha suddhati vishaya lampayati tyajati. So purification is giving up sense enjoyment, especially the indulgence, which is very, 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 very important. See, so many times it is stressed. And that is why Prabhupada ji also warns us against premature hearing of the Ras Leela pastimes. When we studied the Bhagavatam in the initial part itself, we understood that while Canto 1 and Canto 2 are like the feet of the Lord, Canto 10 is the smiling face of the Lord. But before we go on to the smiling face, we must fully assimilate the first nine cantos. The materialists, they misuse the Ras Leela for sensual enjoyment, which actually is a vilification of Bhagavad. It is they who directly study the canto 10, not a devotee. For a devotee, the lotus feet of the Lord is most important. That is where they get the satisfaction. That is where the meditation has to happen. So when we talk of understanding meditation, it is understanding that we have to accept our position as eternal servant of Krishna. Concentrate on lotus feet of Krishna. Serve the lotus feet of Krishna. And then only we can hope to proceed further. Even in Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna gives us the definition of a yogi, he makes it so much clear. Yoginam api sarvesham madgate anantara atmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yuktatamah mata. And of all the yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders long, transcendental loving service unto me, is the most intimately united me with me, yoga, and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. And if we don't serve Krishna, then we fall down, as is accepted in Bhagavatam also. Ye sham purusham sakshat prabhavam ishwaram न भजन्ति अव जानन्ति स्थानात् भ्रष्टा पतन अधः. If any of the members of the four varnas and the four ashramas fail to worship or intentionally disrespect the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the source of the creation, they will fall down from their position into a hellish state of. So what it also intends is that we should concentrate on doing our dharma properly. Because the highest stage of perfection in yoga can be attained only by Bhakti Yoga. And this is something which is confirmed in all Vedic literatures. Like Shvetashveta Upanishad 6.23, it is mentioned, Yasya deve para bhakti yatha deve tatha guru tasya ete katita hi artha prakashanti mahatmanaha. Only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. Gopal Tashni Upanishad also mentions Bhakti asya bhajanam tad iyam utpradati naihi eshana mushmin manah kalpanam etad eva nishkarmya. So bhakti means devotional service to the Lord, which is free from desire for material profit, either in this life or in the next. And devoid of such inclinations, one should fully absorb in the mind of Supreme. This is the purpose of Naishkarma. So we need to understand all these things. That slowly we will get purified. The topmost yogi is one who worships Krishna with full faith. Just physical postures are not important. Conscious absorption of Krishna is true yoga. And for that, Shraddha or faith is the foundation, as mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela. Shraddha Shabde Vishwasa Sudruda Nishchaya Krishne Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Kritagaya. So firm conviction that by devotional service to Krishna all duties are fulfilled is the prerequisite. The practical devotional culture is cleanliness and respect. Because first impressions matter. So you should always have clean dress, temple atmosphere, hospitality, respect, appreciation. They are the key to growing faith in all the newcomers. And that we have to implement in our life very, very seriously. So to summarize, we have to begin bhakti with faith, sadhu sangha, and service. Secondly, purify the heart before attempting higher meditations. Third, avoid misapplication of Bhagavatam's higher topics. Fourth, associate with genuine devotees. Hear regularly from Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. And fifth, faith, respect, personalism, cleanliness, they're foundational, both externally as well as internally. So we have to keep on working on them so that we get to satisfy Krishna. And once Krishna is satisfied, once he feels that we have become strong enough, he ensures that he gives us the necessary directions, internally as well as externally, so that we actually continue on this path, which will enable us to go back home, back to Godhead, where we will have Satchit Anand, eternal bliss, eternal happiness, eternal peace. So let us do it by working on our sadhana, by ensuring that we chant, we stay in association of devotees, read and preach every time, each time, successfully. Thank you very much.